Committee meeting to order, and we're going to go straight on into Ms. Stowe. I will need a motion to approve the minutes,
Motion to approve.
and I will second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now we will move into policy 4.600. It's a grading system policy, and this was just a, Dr. Maddox, if you could help me, this was a TSBA recommendation, right? Or,
Well, we had to, actually, it was some cleanup that we had to do because when it comes to adding the additional points for some of our honors classes, the wording previously said that the points would be added to the final grade, and in reality, it's supposed to be calculated into each term grade instead of the final grade.
okay,
So we changed the wording of that.
okay, and did you hear him, Ms. Stowe, of why we had to change this on the grading policy a little bit? Okay.
I did a little bit.
Do you have any questions on it? Okay, I'll make a motion that we send this to the full board.
Motion to approve.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's going to the full board. And now we're gonna go into the dress code policy, which we have tabled many times. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Steppen and everyone that had a hand in getting information and feedback and all of that. I do have some questions. Mr. Stepp has made a recommendation to do away with policy 5.6001.
One of the options we talked about.
That's one of the options. We do not, in all of the counties in Tennessee, we don't have an actual dress code policy. But one of the things that I noticed that Mr. Stepp had recommended was doing administrative procedures. One of my questions would be, what would those procedures be if we did away with the dress code policy? What would, I know you are in charge of procedures, but what would those procedures be?
We've talked at length on those procedures. We would work directly with principals and teacher leaders to look at what exactly is required as far as professional attire. It's different nowadays. A lot of people are either removing this policy or editing it to include, piercings and tattoo. The world's changed. So different counties are approaching it different ways. Some, because of the variants, have taken it away. Some, because of the new nuances. Some people like to wear their little nose rings or whatever is going on. So some of the counties have allowed that and modified theirs recently through collaborative conferencing and some other options. So it's kind of one of those things. We have a professional standard, so we would decide with leadership and teacher leaders what that professional standard would be through procedures, and that way each school is consistent with that standard.
So it would be a district-wide standard that you'd be
Absolutely.
developing?
And it would not be principal decision per building.
It would be, we would make a countywide procedure like we do with almost all the policies. We're still working on a lot of procedures in the policies.
Okay, so that's one option. Another thing is I wanted to bring up, I had pulled up and looked at Putnam County's, and theirs is called Professional Attire Expectations. I pulled this off today. Has it changed since this morning?
It changed the first week, and I have that. They're the county that added the piercings, and it was all through collaborative conferencing is where that came from.
Okay,
Pulled up.
because I just pulled this off this morning. I didn't
It's
know
not
they had.
clear. Yeah, they had just
they hadn't-
updated it
okay.
March 4th, I think was their meeting, or April 4th, actually.
Okay, and what I liked about that, I liked the way theirs is laid out, except for the paragraph 9 through 11. So I would really like to see the updated.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up now. So I can get to it. That's the old one.
That's the old one.
They've added where you can have tattoos and stuff on it. I'm getting to it right now.
And I looked at many different counties, and like I said, most counties do not have an actual dress code policy. And I'm okay with not having a policy and having the procedures to a certain extent, except for I do not want each building to be different. I want it to be district-wide. I do not want it to be principal controlled as far as you have to do this and you have to do this, and we have 12 different schools wearing different attire.
Ms.
So-
Diane, can you pull up policy 5.6001? Yes, please.
Which,
It has a wording in there, for dress.
You want the one that's not blocked out?
you want, this is ours that he
5006.
no, 5.6001.
Right.
This is it, no, this is the one, you pull up the plain version. Or can you read it?
Because we've marked every bit of ours out.
Yeah. Last month, there was one, I believe, that was changed and recommended by Mr. Stepp initially, that you might be thinking of,
Go
Ms.
down
Boston.
to personnel. Go down to 5.6.
The staff rights and responsibilities.
5601.
5600.
Yeah.
That is the one that's got the wording in it. Go down.
All the way at the bottom, second page, line 7. And
They're
Mr.
appropriate dress for work according to local school rules.
And Mr. Stepp has made a suggestion in the one for today, where appropriate dress for work in accordance with district expectations.
And I just emailed you the Putnam County
To change
policies.
this
You wanna
one?
pull that up so they can see it?
Yes, to change this one to where, line 7, and it should be in your, it was on the agenda.
Oh, I can pull up the one.
And they've marked out according to school rules, right?
Yes,
The district expectations.
and he put in accordance with district expectations.
That's what the procedures would be?
That would be all employees. And so what we've got to come up with is what are our district expectations? That's where my concern lies. What are our district expectations? What would, if we went with no dress code policy, what would the procedures be, the administrative procedures? Because I don't want to turn around and in administrative procedures, then it's put back in there that it is principal discretion per school.
Right, right.
Because that's one of the things we're trying to move away from is that it's principal discretion per school. We need this to be uniform across the district.
Yeah. I'd like to see the procedures before we make a final decision on whether or not that would be the best route to go versus the policy.
If we go that
Draft
way.
that up, if they draft that up.
Towards the end of it. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
What?
I kind of like the idea of letting collaborative conferencing
Yes,
determine.
I like that idea
And
too.
if you're in the middle of collaborative conferencing now, could you add that to your agenda for, let's put it out all on the table. You've got teachers, you've got administrators, you've got
just said-
everybody there. I'm asking, I'm not saying.
We can. We meet Thursday.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll add it to the agenda.
Ms. Stoll, Ms. Boston is asking if, since collaborative conferencing is meeting now, could we not allow them to work on this and come up with? And I'm in agreement with that, so I'm gonna make a motion that we do turn this, employee dress code policy 5.6001 over to collaborative conferencing. And, if I can get a second?
Second.
And do we have any questions from anyone about that, about turning it over to collaborative conferencing?
That way you get to put your input, administration gets to put their input, and then between the two of you, you determine, we don't need this policy, we've got this. Because we've got 5.600 that says, in according to district
Expectation.
expectations.
And that one is TSBA approved because every single district that I've looked at has that.
Yeah, they have that one, they just don't have the separate dress code policy. And I mean, I've looked at counties from one end of Tennessee to the other, north and south, and most of them do not have, a separate dress code policy. But they are expected to be professionals. I mean,
Miss
and-
Diane, can you show the Putnam one just so they see what the collaborative conferencing did with theirs? That came from collaborative conferencing right there.
Can you email that to me?
It's on the PCSS, the agenda for April 4th too, so
Okay.
if I send you something wrong, just look on that agenda and you can, it's way down though.
And see, I like Putnam counties, and I see the change they made, and I'm fine with that also. The only part of Putnam counties that I did not like was paragraph 9 through 11, because it is still saying that it is,
Principal.
the building and central office administrators that, established by the school board. But then it says decisions on professional attire may be made at individual facilities. I don't like that. Because if
I
it's,
think it needs to be countywide, whatever the decisions are that are made, it needs to be countywide so that we are the same across the board.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We need consistency, yeah.
If it goes through the collaborative conferencing, you've got the main players making that decision, and I have a
Now,
trust that they will get that done.
I have a question. If we do not like what they come up with, we do not have to conform to that, right?
The board approves all policy.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted that out.
I'm
In the
comfortable
open.
they'll come back with something that everybody,
Yes, and I trust that y'all, I mean, y'all work hard, so I trust that too. So we've got a motion and a second, so, to send this to collaborative conferencing. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so that is,
And what's the expectation for it coming back? Next month, or?
y'all should
will
be
meeting
finished
enough
by-
in
okay.
between? Okay, so next
and
month.
so
we'll
it will
look
be
at
before
everything.
school starts.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's what my goal, I want it done before the next school year. And so that was all I had on the, policy committee, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the policy committee.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.